This episode is sponsored by State Farm. Choices are great. Like with your podcasts, you get to choose what you want to listen to. And State Farm believes insurance should work the same way. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you get the coverage you want at an affordable price and a policy that helps cover what you value most. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com today to create your State Farm Personal Price Plan. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Scott for Scots here. Do you hear that? Bring the mic in close. That's not how the grass should sound. There's weeds everywhere in this lawn. It's time to take action with Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action. It gets 3 jobs done at once. Kills weeds, prevents crabgrass, and feeds your lawn so it keeps growing strong. Ah, much better.
Get a bag of Scott's Triple Action today. It's guaranteed, or your money back.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
The Purple Mafia, with your host, Paladino Joey.
Well, we'll see. The doctors would disagree, but what do they know?
So let's just say that you'll pay me because it's in your interest to pay me.
Is it worth it? I mean, you've won. Do you want to wipe everybody out?
I don't feel I have to wipe everybody out, Tom. Just my enemy. That's all. My father taught me many things. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
These are wonderful things that we've achieved, and there's no limit to where we can go from here.
Welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. It is Monday, October the 15th, 2012. This is episode number 22 of Purple Mafia. Thank you once again for joining me. Purple Mafia is available on thesportstuff.com and on iTunes. I thank you, each and every one of you, always for downloading and listening to this show. I am once again your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Call me whichever you like. Thanks again, Dylan Richardson, for the introduction. And, of course, for making the show possible, as he is, of course, the executive producer of thesportstuff.com. Well, here we are, guys. Here we are. It's, I'm just so glad that we exploited that horrible pass defense of the Washington Redskins. And I'm just so glad that our pass rush showed up to play today. And so glad that our defense, that our secondary, our suddenly awesome secondary showed up to play as well. It's a great game. It's a great game. The Vikings came into Washington and they just took care of business. They sure did. Like puke up a donkey's you-know-what. This game was, it was what it was. The score does not indicate how horrendous this game was, honest to God. But at the same time, it doesn't. It also, the Vikings still could have easily won the football game, as you'll hear from the 2 callers today. We thought it was 3, but it's 2, and hey, it's the call-in Hall of Fame. You got Anthony from LA and Sebastian Balls. Thank you guys always for calling in once again. Many calls over many shows. Anthony from LA and Sebastian, of course, from Minnesota. Yes, sir. Kind enough to call in yet again. And they're not happy. No, they're not. You're going to hear a lot of passion from both of them. That's the good part. But it's not a happy passion. It's a frustrated passion. And you're going to hear that from me as well. Because guess what, folks? This is an emotion show. Yep. Less notes, more emotion. It's one of those. Yep. It's another emotion show. It's another one of those shows where, it's just filled with what it is. Aren't you excited? Okay, so it's not going to be as structured as some other ones might be, but at the same time, it'll be what it is, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you do. Continue to tell a friend about the show if you can. Also, by the way, first and foremost, we'll get to the call-in line really quick. 209-736-7877. 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention what show you're calling into, which is, of course, Purple Mafia. And, there you go. Leave your name and town or whatever. Well, yeah, your name and town. At minimum, your name. Town, if you can, that'd be cool. But, yeah. You get the idea, like Anthony from LA. Name and town. See? Yeah, isn't that cool? But, yeah, that's the call-in line. Do give it a call. It would be appreciated. You got the Facebook page, facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Simply go to that show and click like. Had a couple of new likes this week. Thank you very much. I'll get to that in a second. Or actually, I think it was only one this week. But yeah, I mean, there's not many new likes on that page very often. I'd like to get more if we could out there. I know you guys are out there. As I said before, I can hear you breathing. There's also the Twitter account at Purple Mafia Show, at Purple Mafia Show. Simply give it a follow. It's that simple. Yeah. Yep. Dan Taylor's the Hall of Famer on Twitter over there. I love Dan Taylor. Yep, and he also posts on the Facebook page as well. We're going to get to that stuff, but first and foremost, as per usual, the call-in line, and we open with the great Anthony from LA.
What's up, Joey? Anthony from LA. First off, the should've, could've plays like that we didn't make. We should have made touchdowns, of course. Everyone knows we should have made touchdowns on those first three field goals that we did that were, I think they were, all three of them were inside the 20 or 30. We should have scored touchdowns. I know one of them was like on the 2-yard line. You know, that was the first field goal, I think it was. I would have had them go for it. I don't even care. But we gotta score touchdowns. We should have been up 21-0 at some part, the beginning part of the game. Defense was no pass rush at all, no outside containment. RG3 was just running first down. Antoine Winfield was our best player today. He made a bunch of plays early in the game, ran an interception. Everyone, their receivers just were wide open, finding the perfect spot in our zone defense. He was just hitting it perfectly. He had no pass rush at all for some reason. He had all kinds of time. When you get all kinds of time like that in cover two, you're going to find an open guy. And our offense, I mean, Percy Harvin and Adrian Peterson can't do it all, even though I know Adrian Peterson only had like 79 yards rushing. And I mean, kind of every week he's really not too high on the numbers, especially the touchdowns. I don't think he's scored since the first game, right? I'm not sure about that, but he's not getting the big yardage that we need him to get to kind of open up the passing, I think in order for us to kind of get a little bit more passing yards down the field, he needs to kind of open it up a little bit more, running the ball wise. Maybe it's blocking, I don't know. But Percy Harvin is nowhere to be found in the red zone either. He gets all his catches, from the 20s, from 20 to the other 20, but once it comes to inside the 20s, inside the red zone, he's nowhere to be found. It's just pretty much Rudolph. That's it. We got to find a way to get the ball to Percy Harvin in the red zone. Whether it's a short pass, a screen pass, I don't know. But we got to get him the ball more in the red zone so we can score points and touchdowns. So that's what it comes down to, and we lost because we didn't score touchdowns in the beginning of the game. We scored those 3 touchdowns. We're winning. We have all the momentum. It's pretty much a blowout again. All right, Joey. I'll talk to you.
And I thank you once again, Anthony from LA, for another great call and a very, very impassioned version of Anthony from LA. Similar a bit to the Indianapolis Colts game. This game was a bit similar to the Indianapolis Colts game, wasn't it? It really was in a lot of ways. Some ways I can mention, and some ways I can't. Just kind of personal stuff in the background. Not bad, just not important to the show. Boy, oh boy. This is, well, it's like an emotion show, too, like that one was. So this one hopefully will be better than that one. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, that was a very good call. Of course, Anthony, very impassioned. Like, I'm just repeating myself. Yeah. All the field goals. I mean, just look at the first quarter here. Just look at it. Blair Walsh, 20-yard field goal. Blair Walsh, 27-yard field goal. Blair Walsh, 27-yard field goal.
Look, that's not enough to work with.
It's good times. Yeah, it's good times. Thanks very much. Nothing wrong with Blair Walsh, but thanks very much, Vikings offense, for being clutch. Just real clutch, especially on that first one, like you mentioned, on the 2 bleeping yard line. You would have gone for it. Yeah, I guess so. Would have just figured if we got stood up there, but I'm kind of neutral on that. I mean, yeah, okay, I guess I would have gone for it, yes. But I'm not, like, pissed off about it. Adrian didn't have the most dominant numbers ever. No, he hasn't really had those for, like, a while, like you were mentioning. Did get 4.6 a carry, but that was helped by a 32-yard scamper. I believe it was in the third quarter. I could be mixed up. Doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But, hey, you know, yeah, this was just, you know, it was just one of those games. It's just one of those games you're just scratching your head the whole time. I really don't like the Washington Redskins. It's personal. You know, I mean, ever since the 1987 NFC title game, and of course that really just, Super Bowl in '92, I've never liked the Washington Redskins. It's personal, man. And every time we play them, I just want to see them, like, lose like 100-0. But, of course, you know, 92, losing to them in the playoffs, that was just ridiculous, 24-7. I've mentioned this a million times, I know, and I don't mean to reflect only on the past all the time. I know Sebastian doesn't like it, but I'm not comparing this team to those teams. I'm just talking about why I hate the Redskins. To somebody who might be a new listener, there's that. Of course, in 2007 is another huge example where they just kind of stormed into the Metrodome. Vikings look like they're going to the playoffs. All they got to do is beat this stupid Redskins team, and they just kicked our bleeping ass on our field, home turf, whatever you want to call it, and it was all she wrote at that point. It was just like a devastating, crushing defeat to a team that I called boring, and this team was not boring. No, this version of the Redskins is not boring. That one was. God, you know, they had like a statue for a quarterback. Their best player was a tight end, whatever. But I'm getting off track a bit. Sorry, Anthony. Yeah, there's no pass rush though. I mean, and that actually bugged me more than the offense, because you know the offense, yeah, they bugged the crap out of me. Excuse me, he almost said something there. You can guess what? Yeah, they bugged the crap out of me more than half the time, especially that Detroit Lions game. It's like, can we please complete a pass? Can we please get something moving? Apparently not. You know, it's total bull. And yeah, we completed passes in this game. Oh yeah, a hell of a lot more than in that Detroit game. But it's just one of those deals where, can we complete a pass when we need to? Can we complete a pass when it actually can give us something good? Like, can we get touchdowns when we're not down by like 25 points or 24 points, 16 points? Can we 17? What the heck am I talking about? 14 points? Can we not get a touchdown when we have a chance to take a convincing lead, a la what Anthony from LA said? Should have been up 21-0. Yeah, in the perfect world, we would have been. How about at least 17-0? Maybe get 2 touchdowns out of it, or God forbid, maybe. It's just ridiculous. You know, maybe 13-0. At least get something. Get 1 touchdown. 1. It's like the first one. No, of course, nothing of it. Nothing of it. Yeah, I mean, Antoine Winfield. No, Antoine Winfield was the only. Yeah, he was the only good defensive player out there. I mean, okay, Jared Allen got 1 sack. Sebastian talks about that in a little bit, but yeah, 1 sack. Really? Okay, that's good. The 1 sack is good, but how about a couple more? Yeah, hello. Interesting point you made also, no Percy in the red zone. Yeah, you never see Percy in the red zone. And how many touchdowns does he have this year? 1. That's right, 1 touchdown. You need to get some other options going here, guys. Seriously. Yeah, Kyle Rudolph's got his 4 touchdowns, but it's kind of like de facto. You know, it's like he's the de facto red zone guy. And if he's the only guy that's really a factor in the red zone, well, we're happy for you. Adrian Peterson, you mentioned, hasn't scored since the first game. He's got 2 touchdowns, so apparently he did score at some point here. Got to look at the game log real quick. 2 touchdowns of almost 500 yards, 499. Yeah, he did score. Yeah, the 2 touchdowns were in the first week, so good call, Anthony. Very good call there. Very good call in general, but good call on that particular topic. And yeah, his numbers aren't the greatest. They haven't been terrible, though. His low for the year is 60. And if you get 60 yards a game, was it 62 yards a game, you're guaranteed 1,000 rushing yards, but 1,000 rushing yards isn't exactly knocking everyone's socks off. I mean, mediocre running backs are capable of doing it if they play a whole 16-game season. But, yeah, no, there's been no explosion from Adrian this year. His best game was in Detroit, and boy, was it ever. 102 yards, and that's not because of the stats. He looked like he was ready to rock and roll. It's interesting. It's been kind of like a peak and valley type of thing. It's like a build-up and then the decline. He's kind of on the slight decline again. 79 yards, no one's going to complain about that, but no touchdown. The one exciting part about Adrian, he did get 50 yards receiving to go with seven catches. That's got to be a career high for him. I mean, 7 catches for Adrian, pretty crazy. He had 4 in the Detroit game, but only for 20 yards, because that whole game was just, every single pass completed was like 5 freaking yards. No, what am I saying? 5 yards? No, more like 2. And that's kind of what this felt like half the time. No deep threat, and I was talking about in the previous show, what's his name? Jerome Simpson was going to get a touchdown in this game. No, he didn't even play. It's like a very important piece that we just need on the field, and guess what? He wasn't on the field because he's hurt. You know, I can't hate a guy for being hurt, but I can dislike him for being hurt and be frustrated with him for it. And, yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. It's annoying and frustrating. Come on, dependability would be nice around here. Is there any more points? That's about it. Very good takes by Anthony. Thank you very much. Sebastian, it is your turn. Come on down.
Hey, Joey. Well, what can I say about this game? Offense sucked. Trying to bleep my own self out right now. I'm so frustrated. A little bit more exhausted from throwing things across the house and getting really upset with our team. Let's see. Somebody who couldn't throw today. Christian Ponder. Kyle Rudolph can't catch. Percy Harvin wasn't able to break anything too big. Adrian Peterson couldn't run up the middle. Toby Gerhardt is Toby Gerhardt, just can't do too much when it's called on. Jerome Simpson, inactive. Michael Jenkins, cement shoes. Devin Aromashudu. That's all I got to say about that. He did what he does and nothing much more. He can catch. You just can't get too open all the time. Jared Allen, 4th sack of the year. We only got 1 sack. There was an issue. 1 sack. Like, defense, where were you? And that should be the title of the show. Defense, where were you? They ran an option. They ran the ball. They played action. They did everything they could, and we could not stop Jack Diddley squat. Oh, my goodness, I can't believe how bad our defense and offense were combined. Like, only 9 points when it could have been 3 touchdowns for 21? Are you bleeping kidding me? Oh, I'm just so frustrated. I'm going to end this phone call before I start swearing. Thanks for letting me call in. Bye.
There's only one way to describe that call right there by Sebastian Balls. Passion. Passion or passionate. Yeah, I mean, that's just, yeah. Yeah, you're trying not to swear. I understand. I almost did already, like a couple times on the show. A couple. They try to sip this wonderful lime LaCroix mineral water. No, it's not a what's the stupid word? Sponsor. But it should be. Yeah, let's give it to them because I pretty much have one of these every single show. But anyhow, yeah, the offense. Sebastian is he's a passionate kid, isn't he? A kid. I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you a kid. Yeah, he's a passionate dude. I mean, I don't blame you for saying this, for saying like the offense sucks and the defense sucks and all that stuff. A little knee jerk, but hey, that's I don't blame you. It was that frustrating. Yes, it was. Threw things across the house. Yeah, I've been known to do that on occasion, but that's That's private. Anyhow, the offense certainly sucked in the game overall. But the funny part is, it's just, you look at the total yards. 421, and they beat the Redskins. Boy, I can't talk very good. They had 60 more total yards than Washington at 361 versus 421. They also had 27 first downs versus 20. So that tells you something. Yeah, the offense did suck because they couldn't execute. Yeah, they got the stats, they got the number, they got the yards, but they didn't get the ball in the end zone. And that's still the object of the game. That's the name of the game. The ball goes in the end zone. And it didn't do it. That's for darn sure. Boom! Okay, there you go. I had to do that. Because that's kind of how, what's-his-name talks sometimes. That guy that puts his name on video games with that guy. Anyhow, Aroma should do. Yeah, that's funny how you mentioned how you kind of were probably the most positive about him on the offensive side, that he was actually okay, that he can catch, that there wasn't much. I like Devin Aroma should do. At least he's okay, yeah. At least he's okay. I think he's a third receiver, and Vikings don't always treat him like a third receiver. Unfortunately, he only got one catch in the game, but it was at an important time, 13 yards. Yeah, Percy Harvin, holy cow. Michael Jenkins, Kyle Rudolph. Funny how you're like Kyle Rudolph can't catch. Well, he didn't catch when he needed to. He got 6 catches for 56 yards. Jenkins also 6 for 67. Percy, of course, incredible, 11 for 133. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. This is usually later on when I get more into the number crunching. But since you mentioned like every single offensive player, it's funny how their numbers were good, but no, they did not execute when it mattered. That's absolutely true. But the guy that killed the Vikings on this day, I'm sorry, the guy that killed them was the Return of Pondover. That's right, the Return of Pondover. You wanted the title of the show to be Hello, Where's the Defense? I'm going to go with the Return of Pondover, man, because I think that's what killed us. And no, the defense absolutely killed us. Yes, they did. But so did Pondover. Oh, boy. Yeah, the defense did kill us. Hello, where's the defense? But hello, where was the offense as well? I know you mentioned that. Only 9, yep, and the same common thread there, only 9 points when it could have been 21. Woulda, coulda, shoulda type of thing. Yeah. Yep, I understand. Yep, you're an upset individual right now, Sebastian, and so am I. I mean, I was in a rotten mood most of the day yesterday, and it sure as heck didn't help to watch the Minnesota Lynx in their WNBA Finals game. I mean, come on here. We're desperate here in Minnesota. We need a team to be a dynasty of some kind. Hey, they're trying to win their second straight WNBA title. Pfft, yeah. The way they played yesterday in Game 1 at home tells me they ain't going to be repeat champions. And if they are, it's going to take a completely different effort. I mean, they don't even look hungry. But again, off topic like always. Like I'm just talented at doing that, apparently. Yep. Only 1 sack, Sebastian. Only 1 sack. No pass rush. No pass rush. Yep. Horse crap, huh? Stone shoes. I like that line by Michael Jenkins. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like Michael Jenkins. You know, I don't think he should get nearly the amount of throws that he gets. I think those throws need to go more to Devin Aroma should do. I think he's the third best receiver on this team. Though, unfortunately, yesterday, without the stupid, thanks for being on the football field. I'm upset with Jerome Simpson. I'm sorry. We lose the first 3 games because the guy is the biggest marijuana dealer since Michael Beasley. Okay, we'll leave that where it is. But, yeah, and now he's hurt. We've been waiting like a quarter of the season practically, and the SOB's hurt now. Great. Come on, man. Is it too many munchies making you out of shape, or what's the deal here? Sorry to be a little bit graphic there, but yeah, I'm frustrated, as you can tell. Jerome Simpson, where the hell were you? Seriously. Seriously. It's okay to be frustrated that a guy's hurt, especially when he already missed 3 games for being very irresponsible during the offseason. And yeah, we signed up for it. We sure did, because he was already suspended before we signed him. So, whatever. Luckily, that activity has not reared its ugly head. We hope it never does again. The injury, again, whatever. it's hard to get a touch. It's hard to get it's hard to give us a touchdown when you're not even in the football game. So thanks again for that, or to contribute when you're not available. So yeah, yeah, I feel you, Sebastian, completely. I hope I'm not missing your points too much. I think I pretty much covered what you had to say there and mirrored it the best I can. I mean, it's, yeah, as we all like to say, it is what it is. And, yeah, we'll continue from here. The Facebook page, facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show. Twitter was a little bit less active yesterday, or I was a little bit less active in general yesterday, kind of busy a bit, and I apologize for that. I'm going to be more active again next week. I got to think for the Arizona game. That should be fun. Hopefully it'll be a win, but we'll talk about that when the time comes, because it's just not the time to talk about it. Yeah. Funny how things change, though. Yep, Dan Taylor on the Twitter. I'll say this early. Yeah, he says, we are going through them like butter. We are going through them like butter, but we need more than field goals from it. Exactly, Daniel Taylor. Yep, exactly, Dan Taylor. Yep, yes, sir. And he says it was a brutal second quarter. They just looked shell-shocked. Need to get it together right now. Yes, you are correct, Dan Taylor. We're going to be right back to him in a second. I think he's the only person on Twitter yesterday. Sometimes it's like 10 people. Sometimes it's 1 or 2. This time it was 1 or 2. Yeah, I'm going to start with when I posted episode 121. Some nice comments from a few guys here, so got to give them a little love here, a little response. Tony Coleman says, already downloaded, not listened yet, mind you, but downloaded. I plan to listen tomorrow on my commute. I said, I hope I make his commute enjoyable. He says, always, my friend, so thank you very much, Tony. Anthony, the other Tony, you could say. Anthony says, I will listen tonight at work. I hate hearing the sound of my voice. Wow, Anthony from LA saying he hates hearing the sound of his voice? Man. Listen to you. Can't make it too much noise here in the background, sorry. Slapping myself. Man, listen to you, Anthony. Man, literally. Really? You've called into like 20 shows. You must love the sound of your voice. No, and I think you... and no, I'm not complaining. I think it's awesome that you're calling in. Let's keep it up. Man, I think you do a great job, Anthony. I think your voice sounds very good. You fit in very nicely on this show, and I appreciate it. Very much appreciation. Mark Carlson with more nice things to say. Thank you very much. Wow, it's a long one, but I'll get to that. He says, another great show. Joey, I listened in today at work. I know I am a newbie to the show, but it has been so much fun listening in. I only wish I had been on board the Purple Mafia listenership long ago. Thank you for that. Although the last 2 years have been tough on fans of the Nord, as you have said, Joey, but if you have been a fan of the Purple People Eaters as long as I have, you can manage through the tough times. Note to Sebastian Balls, understand the doubt and weariness. Yes, sir. Drinking the Kool-Aid never helps. Thank you. I agree. I cannot stand when people drink the Kool-Aid. I mentioned... Wow. Whoa. Listen to this one. I mentioned the Herschel Walker deal to start off. That had to be all Kool-Aid. We learned, or did we? I say to all fans, stay cool and hope the management and coaching changes will put the ultimate team on the field to take home the big one. In the meanwhile, enjoy the game. Have fun watching with your family and friends. And by all means, stay tuned to Joey and the Purple Mafia. Do I get another gold star? Oh, boy. Look at you, getting greedy already. Wow, look at you. I get... It's funny, because the gold star thing, I mean, it was just kind of... I just kind of threw that bit in like a couple years ago, I think. And all of a sudden, it's starting to get popular now. That's funny. We'll see, Mark. I'm gonna be bouncing around a little bit first before I be passing out gold stars. Yes, I'm gonna be a little more patient. No, and it's nothing against anybody. That's an awesome thing. Heck, I mean, if I could give you a gold star every show, I would. But I might want to. I usually like to kind of shuffle it around a little bit. So, where are we? We are bouncing around. Isn't that great? Yes, we are. So, oh boy, crazy stuff. There is a new one on here. Yes, sir. We will get to that here in a second. It's, here we go. Sebastian Balls. Yeah, because I wanted to pick the right one here. He says, the Titans beat the Steelers speaks volume about us. At the time, yes. Now we're kind of trying to figure out what to do here at this point, the Vikings are. Dave Hickey. I believe he's new. I don't think he's, I'm not sure if he's clicked like on the page yet, so if you're listening, Dave, welcome aboard. Don't forget to click like if you have not yet on the page. Forgive me if you have, because for some reason I'm not even able to see the list now, which is really weird. He says, I just downloaded your podcast. It's pretty good. I enjoy listening to anything, or enjoy listening to any Viking stuff. My Viking.com handle is VikeLifer, because I've been a lifelong fan. Keep up the good work, and I'll keep listening. Hey, thank you very much, Dave. Very, very nice to meet you. And, it's... lifelong Vikes fan, huh? People like us. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it feels great. I hope we can win a Super Bowl someday, Dave. It'd be awesome. Thanks again, and I do hope you do keep listening. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate you hopping on board. But don't forget to click like if you have not yet. That's on the important side, we'll say. Mark Carlson saying, getting ready for kickoff here at home in Iowa. Skull Vikings. And there you go. Good to hear. At the time, anyway. Yep. Sebastian Balls generates a lot of conversation here. Yes, it is. Oh, where are we? What just happened? Don't you just love when this thing does this? I sure don't. Here we go. He says, so bleeping sick of field goals, as mentioned, and generates like 19 comments back and forth. He says, whenever we play the Skins, I get pissed. And it's just, yep, he keeps Sebastian going on. A lot of passionate stuff. Feels like he's about to have a bleeping heart attack. He doesn't get it. We suck. We bleep and suck. Keeps saying it and saying it and saying it. Hey, it's just one of those deals. He says he gets pissed when we play the Redskins. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals. I mean, I was saying how he won the previous two times. Of course, complete NFL junk time during a junk season. So when it's a game that has value, seemingly has been the same old story of the Vikings versus Redskins in a meaningful game. Yes, sir. A meaningful game is when we're not winning. Same old story. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. We beat the Redskins both times the last 2 years in junk games. And now when it's a game that matters, guess what? Same old crap. Yep, just like 2007, just like whenever. And no, I'm not living in the past, not comparing this team to 2007. I'm just giving an example. So before anybody jumps on me saying I'm living in the past, so be nice, Sebastian. Be nice this time. Now, I actually misconstrued what he said here. I thought he was actually ranting at me, but he wasn't. He says, who cares? Who cares what we did last year? A couple years ago, I did this quote last week, and it's true for this. The past does not matter. This is a week-to-week, year-to-year league. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things. He's just restating the point. He says when I got a little bit what the heck? Why are you getting all mad about the past? And no, it's because I'm not trying to live in the past here. It's more or less just giving an example of what happened. Yeah, giving an example of what's been the story of this team. So it's time to move around a little bit. Now mention what... Yeah, I got to mention what Sebastian Ball says here. He says he saw his great-grandma in the hospital, now getting pumped to watch the game. Yeah, I hope she's doing okay, Sebastian. Best wishes to your great-grandma. That's cool that... it's cool that you have a great-grandma currently. That's cool. So, best wishes. Give her my best wishes, and all of us in the Purple Mafia family giving her best wishes. Yes, sir. Janine, yes, sir. I remember, this is a very familiar name. Finally actually joined the page. Finally did. I wanted her to click like about 2 years ago. And so she finally has joined. So, yep, she's also a long time Viking fan from the old school. So welcome on board. Janine, welcome on board. Finally, she says, Joey, what can I say about today's game? It was a winnable game that the Vikings lost. Ponder was outwitted, outplayed, and out-hustled by Robert Griffin III. Griffin was electrifying and Ponder was okay. But his 3 turnovers came at crucial times, which just killed the Vikings. And he bears some of that responsibility. Frazier looked pissed, and I wouldn't want to be on the plane flying back to Minnesota. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sebastian says, Joey, look who I brought back. Mark is bringing in new people, and I'm bringing back vets of this show. Thank you for that, Sebastian. That would be cool. He says Jeannie should call in. Janine should call in. Hey, why not? Why not? She also mentions she witnessed the debacle in person. It was painful and embarrassing. Yes, sir. Sebastian mentioned that he just called, and hell yeah, we got that call in, Sebastian. Thank you for that. So, I guess, okay, here we go. And just to be fair, yeah, well, you brought in Janine. That's I seemingly couldn't do it. So if you did it, Sebastian, you get this week's gold star. Congratulations, Sebastian. Yes, finally getting another gold star. No, it hasn't been that long. Probably like a couple shows ago. So Sebastian Balls with the gold star. Yes, sir. Congratulations for that. Bringing Janine into the house. Yes, sir. Welcome on board, Janine, once again. And I almost should give her the gold star for making a good statement there. That was good stuff. And yeah, it's like we could kind of say they're co-gold stars. So that little gold star goes kind of to both of you. I'm going to go back to the Twitter first before I continue. So, yeah, there'll be a little bit less interaction on this show compared to... Apologize about that. There's a... trying not to be distracted here. Trying to check something, but, apologize there. So, we'll continue. Twitter account... Dan Taylor says, brutal second quarter. They just look shell-shocked. Need to get it together right now. And that was the beginning of the end, wasn't it, Dan? It really was. Oh, my God, was it ever. Like, you look at the second quarter. Yeah, Vikings didn't do squat. Horrible second quarter. I mean, literally, it was just 17-0. You felt like, man, we should be up 21-0 or something like that. Or 17 or 13-0. Great first quarter. That just wound up to be an okay first quarter. A decent first quarter. And then the second quarter was like, wait, what just happened again? Somebody fill me in. What just the hell just happened here? See, we got to enter. We're turning the ball over. We're getting killed. Guys are just blowing past us. Couldn't believe it, man. Couldn't believe it. It was just one of those unbelievable games. That second quarter, it was just stunning. It was terrible. It was stunningly bad. It really was. I mean, I'm still reeling from what took place in that second quarter. Really, honest to God, it was so stinking bad. Thank you so much, Christian Ponder. Yep. I mean, I don't even want to. I don't even want to remember. That's how bad it was. Really, It was a hell of a game in so many ways. Total crap. Percy Harvin was okay, though. He had a 34-yard kick return at some point there. But we got the punts. You got Washington just blowing past us. Christian Ponder fumbled. On the very first possession, or not first possession, but I mean the very first play of a drive, late in the second quarter, Vikings all trying to get something going, hoping to get something going. Next thing you know, he's sacked, and then it was a fumble recovery. And just one play later, it was a touchdown, and before you knew it, it was like, Washington had taken over the game basically at that point. Terrific. It was 17-9. You suddenly go from 9-0 to 17-9, and it just seemed like a couple seconds. 17 points for Washington. See, now there you go. There's a team that actually scored when they needed to. They got their touchdowns and such. Did the Vikings? Nope. Of course not. No, they didn't. Oh, they in the fourth quarter when they're down by like 18,000 points. Thanks for that. Dan Taylor continues saying stupid penalties, bad tackling, wide open receivers. Welcome back to 2010. And then the ultimate thing happens. Yeah, it happened. I don't even, really, I don't even want to go there. It looked like the Vikings maybe were going to semi get back in the football game, right? Here we go. We're going to finally semi get back in the game. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah, it'd be so nice, wouldn't it? Because we were slowly seeping back into the game. Just slightly. Yeah, just slightly. We were moving the ball. Actually, we weren't really moving the ball too much, were we? No. We were pinned back, but it looked like we were starting to improve because we were able to get a field goal semi recently. We're slowly trying to get semi back in the game. I mean, it wasn't all hopeless yet. It was just the start of the fourth quarter, pretty much. And Christian Ponder commits the cardinal sin of all time. Yeah, he did. He threw a pick six to none other than Mediu Williams.
Oh my God!
That's a cardinal sin. You threw a pick six to Mediu Williams. This is Mediu Williams, folks. Mediu Williams is incapable of making an interception. But not only does he catch it, it's a pick six. Mediu Williams. Mediu Williams. Oh, the horror stories that we went through for years with this guy. And he pulls this one out of a bag. He pulls a rabbit out of a hat, man. Are you kidding? I really wish you were kidding. I mean, this is just one of those things. Just hearing that name being called. Pondover has returned, ladies and gentlemen. He's starting to look like Rex Grossman again a little bit. He did not look good against Detroit. He looked good against Tennessee for the most part, but it was like, it's Tennessee. Actually, he wasn't that great. He threw 2 interceptions against Tennessee. He wasn't that spectacular. He was okay in that game. Christian Ponder's taken a step back the past 3 weeks, folks. I mean, it's plain as day. He has. He was great against San Francisco, but ever since that game, it's been a slow decline, and reality is beginning to set in once again. I hate reality. I do. And it's like you get, reality that stinks anyway. You get these teams that supposedly have the worst defense ever, terrible pass defense, time for that aerial attack. That's why Christian Ponder attempted 52 passes in this football game, by the way. He did get a ton of yards, but overall he was terrible. Christian Ponder was terrible in this game. Certainly didn't look like the same guy in the first 4 weeks of the season, did he? Oh, no. He looked like a greatly improving player the first 4 weeks of the season or so. Not 4 weeks, first 3 weeks of the season. And then the next 3 weeks, none of it. None of it, man. Nope. This just was not that good. Yeah, good job on the yards, but whatever. Garbage, man. Yeah, you get some touchdowns late in the game to slowly put us back in it, but so what? It's just like in the mainstream of things, it's like, so what? We're happy for you, What a game. What a bleeping game. Mediu Williams got a pick six, folks. Mediu Williams got a pick six. Making it 31-12. It was just, at that point, I mean, you just throw in the towel, 31-12. I mean, I know it didn't look like the Vikings were going to get back in the game necessarily, but they were still within 12, is what I was trying to say earlier. I just wasn't wording it right. Because they did get a field goal, like the 9 billionth field goal this year, rather than touchdown. Yeah, I mean, a 12-point game with a full quarter to go. Hey, stuff happens. You can win the game, but not after the pick six to Mediu Williams. That's just like throw in the towel. It's it. Stick a fork in Ponder, stick a fork in the Vikings at that point. It was all just about boosting stats, pretty much, for certain players at that point, which Ponder and Michael Jenkins and Kyle Rudolph with another touchdown. Unbelievable. And what's really sad? We'll get to it in a minute. Yeah, we'll get to it in a minute. Everybody knows already. Dan Taylor says, now Mediu Williams can make interceptions. Good God. He says, same old Vikings. Jared, so one guy featuring Jared, it says, proving they're still a young team. At least they made it a game. And that was Dan Taylor, or he was responding to myself and Dan Taylor there. Dan Taylor again commenting, saying the lack of any sort of deep threat is killing us. Number one priority in the draft next year. Yeah. It's like it's a little early to be talking about the draft, but at the same time, yeah. Vikings need to get a wide receiver. Absolutely. Yeah. Plain and simple there. So that concludes the Twitter page. Thank you, Dan Taylor and Jared. Thank you indeed for that. Very cool guys right there. Well, mostly Dan Taylor, not so much Jared, because I don't think he's even following Purple Mafia and even knows what it is. But anyhow, he just kind of responded to Dan Taylor mostly. Sebastian Balls says, dear fellow Viking fans, as we sit here and look back on the awful game, I think to myself, we're 4-2, and if we play at this rate, we can be 8-4, maybe even 10-6. I know that's a stretch, but I honestly don't think this game is going to hurt us as much as it feels right now. Yeah, Sebastian very frustrated earlier, and right there a little bit more calm apparently. 10-6, I think is still very realistic. Yes, though I mean this game was disappointing, no doubt about it. But no, like I was saying, the Vikings Vikings were actually back in the football game with a couple of good drives, getting touchdowns to Jenkins and Rudolph. It's funny, it was enough of a tease. Like, say there was about 3.5 minutes left to go in the game. It's like, okay, maybe we can get a 3 and out here or something like that, and then here we go. Maybe we could pull off the miracle. The miracle in the capital. Yeah, there we go. There's a new one. Vikings failed a 2-point attempt, just mentioning, after they got the touchdown to Rudolph. So it was 26-31 versus, or 31-26, where it could have been 31-28. That would have been really cool. Then all you have to do is get in field goal range. But none of it. You needed the defense to make a stop at a very important time. Oh no, not against the Washington Redskins in a game that actually matters for something. No. You know what happened? Yeah, you know what happened. Robert Griffin broke through for 76 yards. And as they say, that's the ball game. Hopefully the audio wasn't choppy there, but yeah, as they say, that's the ball game. That was all she wrote. I mean, if it wasn't bad enough already. Mediu, Bleep, and Williams, horrible everything. Just guys not completing passes, or not making catches, no pass rush, and then we still have a bleeping shot to win the football game. Throwing an interception to Mediu Williams for a pick six. I probably said that 1,000 times, but that's how amazing it is that actually happened. And then you give up 76-yard scamper by Robert Griffin III. I don't care how good he is. I don't care how athletic he is. I don't care. Come on. Really? Really? Seriously? That sucked. I mean, that was just absolute garbage. Seriously, like, can you make a tackle, guys? Just like slow him down, and then somebody else make a tackle. Just please get somebody do something. Just come on, get that guy on the ground. What the hell is this? Get that guy down. Okay, yeah, you get the idea. Kind of going mafia there on it. It's about how a mafia person would be saying right there. And I think some of the guys on defense would be locked up in a chamber somewhere. Anyhow, in a dungeon somewhere after that, in a basement somewhere. Dan Taylor says, yesterday, this was on the Facebook page, so Dan Taylor again. Yes, sir. Says, yesterday was very disappointing, but I feel a lot better knowing the Vikings are playing in London next year. Yeah, because that was announced today. The Vikings will have a game in London next year. So, hey, there you go, Dan. Now you can see them up close and personal. The UK native, Dan Taylor, may have a shot to see the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sure he's going to try to. Hey, man, there you go. Congratulations on that front, Dan. Hopefully the Vikings can do something of it. Hopefully the Vikings make a good showing of it, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, that concludes the interaction with the listenership, the Facebook page, the Twitter account, all that good stuff. Washington's offense wasn't that great, was it? Look at the receiving numbers. Santana Moss, 4 catches, 46 yards. Fred Davis, who I don't even know who that is, barely. Three catches for 46 yards. Joshua Morgan, who's that again? 42 yards, and so on and so forth. Just various 1 or 2 catch, 20 yard, 3 yard, whatever deal the rest of the way. The Vikings offense, statistically, just the numbers alone, look like they dominated the Redskins outside of those godforsaken turnovers. Outside of that, it looked good. Antoine Winfield did get an interception for the Vikings. We appreciate that very much. Christian Ponder, 2 interceptions and a fumble. It was Pondover. Like last year, he had a fumble 6. I remember that, Ponder. A fumble 6. An F6. An F6. Hey, that sounds like an airplane. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, the pass deflections way down, though, versus previous weeks. Nobody had multiple pass deflections, and there were 4 overall in the game, which probably still is an improvement over last year's team, but certainly nothing like in the previous weeks. DeMarcus Sanford and Antoine Winfield leading in tackles. Overall, Antoine Winfield, the king in that category with 5 tackles and 5 assists. 2 assists for Sanford with 5 solos. A forced fumble by Jamarcus Sanford. Again, Jamarcus Sanford forced another fumble. I think he needs to start for the rest of the season. Believe it or not. Even though the secondary didn't play that great, they were okay. It was mostly the pass rush. The linebackers and the defensive line let the Vikings down yesterday. That's the reason why Robert Griffin III ran for 76 yards. That's the reason why the Washington Redskins were getting key first downs at key times and bleeping the whole game up for the Vikings. But number one problem, number one sore thumb, or whatever you want to say, sticking out like a sore thumb in this football game, to me was Christian Ponder. I'm sorry, it was. That's why the title of the episode will be The Return of Pondover. Ooh, yeah. Pondover's magnificent return. Thank you very much. Now take that return and take it away and bring back Christian Ponder. I don't want Pondover here. I want Ponder back on the football field against those Arizona Cardinals, and we're going to talk about that very shortly. So that pretty much, that's about all I'm going to need to say about this football game. Percy Harvin, spectacular on the kick returns again. Only 3 kick returns, good for 100 yards. Had a 45-yarder in there, a 35-yarder in there. The guy's just a stud in so many ways. Like I mentioned earlier, 11 receptions. 11. This is a guy who's getting the ball now. 133 receiving yards. Now I look at his numbers and I'm a bit stunned. 540 yards. I thought he had that last week. Maybe I'm screwed up in the head, but he has 540 yards. But the key stat of them all, and brought up by none other than Anthony from LA, 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown. They need to get him the ball in the red zone. He got his 1 touchdown against Tennessee, who absolutely, positively sucks. Woohoo. He got a touchdown against Tennessee. So did 9,000 Detroit Lions. Get Percy Harvin the ball in the red zone. I mean, it took that long. It took till week 5 for Percy Harvin to get a touchdown? Wow. When you think about that number, that is one of the most telling numbers of the entire season. It took till week 5 for the leading receiver, and probably in football right now. I'm not really looking at that stat right now, but he's got to be, and at least in catches. He's got 1 touchdown? Anyhow. Yikes, that is pretty scary. Yeah, get him the ball in the red zone. Thank you very much, Anthony, from LA, for that one. Yeah, I agree 199.99999% on that. Okay, there is no 0.9. It's all zeros, 100 bajillion %. The Detroit Lions, we're going to open it with them on the NFC North Roundup. Oh, goody. It's all good news. Okay, we'll start with the Bears. They had the bye. So they're idle, and they will remain in sole position of first place because they only have 1 in the loss column. Congratulations to the Bears for not losing a football game this weekend. Congratulations to the Detroit Lions who return from their bye and defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. That's an impressive game. It was in Philadelphia. The Eagles aren't great, but they've beaten a couple of good teams this year. I mean, they've showed up to play. But the Detroit Lions defeat the Eagles in Philly, the city of brotherly hate, or brotherly shove, or whatever they call it, 26-23 in an overtime effort. Detroit Lions not dead yet. No, they're not. Matthew Stafford eclipsed 300 yards, completing 22 of 45 passes, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a rushing touchdown in the football game. Michael Vick with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, 311 yards as well. How about that for coincidence? Philadelphia pretty much, they had the lead for a little while. Detroit with a strong fourth quarter, 17 points. That sounds familiar. Painfully. 17 points in the second quarter anyway for Washington. But the Detroit Lions get it done when it matters most. Getting Jason Hansen in field goal range as he nailed a 45-yarder. Jason Hansen, a stud in so many ways. He is just amazing. Not the most exciting, not the prettiest football game in the world for Detroit versus Philadelphia, but hey, a win's a win, and they are now 2-3, and they're back in the mix, at least for the time being. Speaking of another team that's also back in the mix, oh boy. They have not had a bye yet, and they are now 3-3. That is the vaunted and hated Green Bay Packers. As they reverse the Houston Texans with a 42-24. See, notice reversed 42-24. They reversed the Houston Texans in their house. Houston Texans no longer undefeated. They are absolutely manhandled, obliterated, shoved, pushed around, crushed, kicked in the face, and passed on. Passed through like butter. You want to talk about going through them like butter. Aaron Rodgers, ladies and gentlemen, did not get 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 touchdowns in this game. No, he didn't. He got 6. Aaron Rodgers got 6 touchdowns in this football game. Insane. Ridiculous. What the bleep. The Packers were able to hold... Yeah, the Packers' defense actually looked good in this football game. That's another thing. That's another amazing, urban legend type thing right there. The Packers' defense looked good against the Houston Texans. Houston Texans don't have the sexiest offense of all time, but it's good. I'm not a big Matt Schaub fan. I think he's always hurt. He's inconsistent, and he drives me nuts. Mostly because he's hurt. I mean, it's hard to win football games when your starting quarterback's hurt. It is hard. Arian Foster was held all the way down to 29 yards in the game, but he still got 2 touchdowns. So congratulations to fantasy owners in that case. But no, the fantasy owner, any fantasy owner with Aaron Rodgers on the roster, their chances of winning were, off the charts. They've got about an 80% chance of winning the game, if not 90 to 99%, when your quarterback, especially in a pass-happy league, and if it is a pass-happy fantasy league, yeah, I think you won in that case. 6 touchdown passes. Against one of the best defenses in the league, the Packers looked like champions. And I don't like to use that word with Green Bay. I do not like to say champions in the same sentence with Green Bay, but they looked like it last night, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Oh my gosh. Yeah, insane. 338 yards for the aforementioned Aaron Rodgers. So again, looks like the most arrogant man one of the most arrogant football players I've seen in recently, but yesterday I guess he had the right to be. Oh, God, the Packers just destroyed the Texans. And it's a game they had to win. I mean, the Green Bay goes down to 2-4. Season isn't over, but season is in big-time jeopardy. They would win a maximum of 12 games if they won out the rest of the season. That's not a place you want to be just a mere 6 weeks into the season. So, Green Bay getting the job done when they needed to. Congratulations to them, I guess. I dare say. And, that's it right there. Green Bay is now 3-3. And in third place, Detroit is 2-3. And in fourth, Minnesota. Second, 4-2. Chicago. The Chicago Bears are the division leaders for the time being. And we'll see where that leads to. I'm so happy for the Bears, aren't you? Well, yeah, we're going to have a lot of games against Green Bay and Chicago coming up very soon. Very soon, but not yet. First and foremost, the Minnesota Vikings have 2 football games they absolutely must win against the Arizona Cardinals and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Vikings have got to win those football games. I believe they're both home games, and yes, they are. Arizona on Sunday, and then a Thursday nighter immediately. Oh boy, that's going to be a kind of a test. It's like it's an easy game in terms of the team, but then again, they actually played pretty good yesterday, didn't they? So just a four-day rest for the Vikings. They host the Arizona Cardinals and Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a 5-day period this coming week. It's going to be fun, but at the same time, boy, Kansas City isn't a great football team, but boy, the Buccaneers manhandled them beyond belief, 38-10. I certainly hope that the Buccaneers suddenly haven't learned how to play football again at 2-3. Arizona is a strong football team, record-wise. Their record is pretty good at 4-2. They did not beat the Buffalo Bills yesterday, though. They lost in overtime, and we're going to get to that right after this.
Let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skol Vikings, let's go. Skol Vikings, let's win this game. Skol Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run up the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skol Vikings, let's go.
We are back here on Purple Mafia, episode number 122. Thank you again for joining the show. That is a reminder for all iPod users and Double Twist Android users. That's right. And other MP3 players. Yeah, on your Android phone, those of you out there, new to the show, maybe you think that you don't want to sit in front of your computer. Maybe you don't have an iPod, but you happen to have an Android phone. There's an application on Android called Double Twist. It is not affiliated with Purple Mafia in any way. It is just me personally letting you know, being a friendly thing to let you know. It's a free application called Double Twist. It gives you every podcast that is on iTunes onto your Android phone. You don't have to hook it up to a computer or anything. You simply download. Download the application on your phone. Literally, you go to the Google store, look up Double Twist, get that, and you can get the Purple Mafia Show or Timberwolves Explosion or Brave the Wild, which are all affiliated with me. I am the host of all three of those shows. Brave the Wild, not as frequently as this one, and, of course, Timberwolves Explosion. Brave the Wild, or hockey, of course, in a lockout anyway right now. So, yeah, do get that application if you like that. It can basically turns your Android phone into an iPhone in that sense, because you can listen to podcasts on it without having to screw around. All right, so the Arizona Cardinals come to town. That's right, the Cardinals come to town, and thankfully this one will be a noon game, I believe. Yeah, we're finally going to have a noon game again. It's been a while. I actually missed it quite a bit. It'll feel nice. It'll feel nice having the football game earlier in the afternoon this time around. Oh yeah, it's going to be great. The Arizona Cardinals are defeated by the Buffalo Bills yesterday in an overtime game, 19-16. Arizona Cardinals, a better defensive team than they've been in the past. That's one thing of note that we'll get to very shortly. Arizona was at home, though, and losing to the 3-3 Bills, not the best thing in the world, but hey, they didn't necessarily get the crap beat out of them. They barely lost the game, and Buffalo is a pretty good offense. Excuse me for that. Kind of had to hiccup there. Ryan Fitzpatrick completed just over 50% of his passes. No interceptions with no touchdowns. A very mediocre game for a pretty good quarterback there. Kevin Cobb has been playing better this year for Arizona. Still not spectacular, but about 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for the season. Only one shy of last year's number of 9 touchdowns last year by Kevin Cobb in an injury-riddled season and a horrible disappointment in his first year as the Arizona Cardinals' quote-unquote quarterback of the future as they acquired him from Philadelphia. But yeah, a much more promising season this year and a much more promising record until yesterday, but they're still 4-2. Arizona looking okay thus far. They lost their starting running back for the season, though, and a lot of people out there think the Arizona Cardinals should pursue Chad Johnson of the Tennessee Titans because hey, he's a good football player. He doesn't fit into Tennessee. He's been a malcontent there. Arizona should consider doing something like that. Hey, I agree. Why not? I mean, Arizona's always kind of tried to make splashes. And they have been successful at times. They did get Edgerrin James. They did get Kurt Warner. And they made an awesome draft pick in the guy by the name of Larry Fitzgerald years ago, of course. They also had Emmitt Smith near the end of his career, but he played fantastic with Arizona, as did Kurt Warner, mentioned earlier. Kurt Warner took him all the way to the Super Bowl. Amazing run for Kurt Warner there in Arizona. In fact, he played better as a Cardinal, I think, than a Ram, and that's a big statement. He was awesome in Arizona. But with that said, Arizona Cardinals coming in the Metrodome pretty much has spelled disaster for them over a long history. Minnesota, and I know history does not always repeat itself, but I think the Vikings can and will defeat the Arizona Cardinals because I don't think the Cardinals are as good as their record. That's right. I don't think the Cardinals are a playoff team unless they get a Chad Johnson type. And Chad Johnson not only has to go to, they not only have to acquire Chad Johnson, but he actually has to live up to his hype for once in his career. since his contract year, he actually has to play good again. Yeah. So not only do they have to get him, but he has to play good. And neither of those have happened yet. Kevin Cobb coming back to the pack, though. Unfortunately, he had a good game rushing, though. Gosh, 66 yards on the ground for Kevin Cobb in the game, a 22-yard scamper overall. William Powell is the running back right now for the Arizona Cardinals. He's actually doing okay, to be honest. Or he was doing okay. It was his first game as a starter, actually. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, yeah, it was his first game as a starter. Not bad, though. 70 yards and 13 carries. That's actually pretty solid. Didn't break loose for much. He had as long as the game was 17. But, hey, 70 yards, not bad. Not bad for a guy there for a situation where he didn't have a break loose deal. It's just consistently good. Unfortunately, those mentioned, they could not defeat the Buffalo Bills. But, they're a fairly balanced football team, though. Of course, you have one of the best receivers in all football. Kevin Cobb has improved this year, by the way, and the running game was all right. It was okay. But Arizona's defense has improved. Their run defense, it's their point allowed are actually they're one of the stingiest teams in football. In fact, 4th in the league, allowing only 16.2 a game. That is not bad. So the Vikings better be on their game next week. Christian Ponders, we're going to have to see an improvement from him. Though, I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings hope to try to beat the Cardinals on the ground this year. The Arizona Cardinals have only one defensive touchdown overall. They've forced 6 fumbles, and they have also taken away 6 interceptions. So you got that going on right there. They have no pick sixes on the year. But one stat that sticks out like a sore thumb, unfortunately, is the sacks. Arizona Cardinals have 19 sacks on the season. That is 3rd in the NFL. 3rd in the entire NFL. So you're going to see a little pass rush from these Arizona Cardinals. And again, like I mentioned, their run defense is all right. It's about 11th in the league. Their pass defense is closer to around 9 or 8 in the league. So their defense is slightly above average, unfortunately, for for the Vikings coming in here. They have a good, they have a good pass defense. Not great, but it's stingy overall. Let's see, might be getting the numbers mixed up here. You got Dallas number 1, San Francisco number 2, Colts 3, blah blah blah, 4. Ninth, they are ninth. Yep, so I was right. Ninth in the league in pass defense. That was dead on. Cool. Pass defense. Yes, pass defense overall. Ninth in the league, but number 3 in the league in sacks. So that is one of the big keys. You're going to have to worry about a pass rush by the Arizona Cardinals, though they did only get 2 sacks in the game, but they were by the same guy. Against Buffalo, that is. They were by the same guy. O'Brien Sheffield, who now has 4 sacks on the year. Not the biggest numbers ever, but hey, 4 sacks. Jared Allen has 4 sacks too. Not quite on pace for that 22 that he had last year. Now is he? Hopefully the Vikings can get some sacks though against the Arizona front line, which is not considered one of the best offensive lines in the league. And traditionally, their offensive line has really never been that good with the Arizona Cardinals. But yeah, a lot of sacks all over the place. You have multiple players with 3 or 4 sacks on the Arizona Cardinals. You got Darrell Washington with 4 sacks, a guy to watch out for, unfortunately. For Christian Ponder, of course, Sheffield, Sam Carlos Campbell has 2 sacks. Quentin Groves and Paris Lennon. So you got a little bit of a pass rush there. Interceptions, you got one guy to worry about is mostly Patrick Peterson, who's one of the better cornerbacks in the league. He was a first round pick, 5th overall in 2011. So there you go. That's one of the reasons why their pass defense is so good. You got a guy like that in your secondary. It's something to build around. It's not the best pass defense in the league, but hey, top 10. You got to go in against a top 10 pass defense. And the way Christian Ponder played last week, well, throw away from Patrick Peterson as best you can. Though, unfortunately, you're going to have him on probably a Percy Harvin or a Jerome Simpson most of the game. So that's the unfortunate part. He certainly gets a good share of tackles as well. Patrick Peterson, at only 22 years of age, is becoming fast becoming one of the better cornerbacks in football. Certainly. Already topped his career high. He's already got a career high in interceptions, which is funny. He hasn't forced any fumbles yet, but he's got 8 pass deflected already this season versus 13 in the whole 16-game season last year. He has not missed a game due to injury yet, so that's another good sign for the Arizona Cardinals there. So, I mean, if you're going to win this football game, obviously, and I hope the Vikings do, it seems like every time, we got to do it in the air, you got to do it on the ground, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. It seems like it ends up being wrong no matter what. You expect the Vikings to score 30 points against the Washington Redskins, they don't do it. You expect the Vikings to score 30 points against the Tennessee Titans, well, they finally did it, but Matt Hasselbeck was so bad in the game, it kind of helped in that category. You expected to see 30 points against Indianapolis. That didn't happen. You thought Ponder was going to pass the lights out. Didn't happen. Ponder did get a lot of yards yesterday, but he was terrible. A lot of missed passes in the game. He was inaccurate. Not only was he throwing interceptions, but the ball was all over the place. Passes that could have been intercepted, but they were just way off. It's just one of those deals. It was one of those games. Arizona's not the turnover captains of the world, but again, the way Pondover, see, there you go. Pondover has been playing of late. I don't know what to think other than this has got to be a ground game. This has got to be a ground game for the Vikings. I'm looking overall, though, for a balanced attack with a slight edge to the run game for the game plan for the Minnesota Vikings. And that also spells Percy Harvin up the yin-yang once again. Not that we weren't expecting that to happen. Not that isn't going to happen anyway, no matter who we play. But Percy Harvin is going to be absolute. It's going to be an Adrian Peterson type of game, but it's also going to be a Percy Harvin yet again. You're going to see a lot of short passes to Percy Harvin in this game. Again, not like it hasn't happened a quadrillion times already, but that's going to be what's going to happen. The Vikings are going to be moving the chains as best they can, and hopefully they'll be ahead, and that means a lot of running for Adrian Peterson and Toby Gerhart in this football game. And yes, Toby Gerhart will be a bigger factor in this game than in the past, than in the last game. Believe it or not, I do see Toby Gerhart being somewhat of a factor in this football game. He could get 40 to 60 yards in this game, believe it or not. And could we see Adrian Peterson get a season high in this game? I'm going to make the prediction, yes. I'm going to say Adrian Peterson is going to top his 108-yard performance, or was it 102? I believe it's 108-yard performance against the Detroit Lions. I see the Vikings doing that in this game because, they're going to be, the pass defense in Arizona is not bad. Christian Ponder, though, hopefully he can be efficient in the game. He's going to have to improve that. And again, I expect him to. I think he will. He's a very astute individual. I can see him doing that, improving and coming in and having a good football game. But I do expect the game to have a slight edge to the ground game. And that is how the Vikings will defeat the Arizona Cardinals. But in one of those kind of games where, Arizona is on the decline, unfortunately. And I don't expect that much from their offense. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I think the Vikings defense has a rebound this week. That's probably an even bigger key to the Vikings winning the game. But I like to kind of come out with the offense first. I think the Vikings defense will make a statement in this game. Arizona's going to have trouble running the ball. I think Kevin Kolb is going to struggle against the Vikings. Unfortunately for him. But Larry Fitzgerald will probably get a touchdown in the game. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Obviously somebody's going to have to score. Right? The Vikings are not going to shut out Arizona like we shut out the Tennessee Titans. I don't see that happening. But at the same time, I don't see Arizona lighting the Vikings up either. Kevin Kolb and the Cardinals have been on the decline the past 2 weeks. Remember, they were 4-0 at one point. Now they're 4-2. So I do see Minnesota with a rebound here. And if they don't rebound and they don't win this football game, they're not going to make the playoffs. At 4-3, that's not the worst record ever, but you know what? The schedule's about to get a lot worse. And if you can't beat Arizona at home, you don't deserve to make the playoffs. So with that said, the Vikings will pull it out. They will win 24-17. No, 24-20. Vikings win 24-20 in a fairly close game. You're going to see the likes of Blair Walsh, Percy Harvin, and Adrian Peterson will be the main cogs of the victory. And, of course, the secondary of the Minnesota Vikings will frustrate the Arizona Cardinals. I think the running game is going to be shut down pretty good. I don't think Arizona is going to be running the football anything much in this football game. Football, yeah. Bad English there. I don't think Arizona is going to be running. Have their best running game in this week. I think the Vikings defense rebounds, and they have to. Because if it doesn't, the season's over. Yeah, so we're going to end it on that note. Thank you. Again, I think Minnesota gets to 5-2 and head to Tampa and go to 6-2, and then hopefully go 6-2 when Tampa Bay visits Thursday, about 12 days from now. So, yes, thank you again for listening to the show. Please do go to thesportstuff.com. Do give that a visit. That would be great. Don't forget to check out the other shows on that website if you could, including my 2 shows, Timberwolves Explosion and Brave the Wild, but check out the other shows on there as well. More than worth it. Hopefully we're going to... we'll see what happens, though, what we're going to do with the message board. Still have not been decided yet overall. But we thank Dylan Richardson always for making this show possible and for having a nice website over on thesportstuff.com. Thesportstuff.com. Don't forget the call-in lines, 209-736-7877. 209-736-7877. Don't forget to leave your name and town. Mention what show you're calling in for, which is Purple Mafia. And there you go. Statement, shout-out, question, whatever. Facebook page, facebook.com/Purple Mafia Show, and at Purple Mafia Show is the Twitter account. Like and or follow those respective accounts. Would appreciate it also very much. So with that, we're looking for a rebound effort for the Minnesota Vikings, and it better be a good one. Because as mentioned already, this is it's kind of a must-win game. You can't lose against Arizona. That would be devastating to the season. Is there any doubt? Really? And then in 4 days you have to play Tampa. You can't beat Arizona at home. Ouch. Vikings will win the football game, and we'll go from there. Until then, though, Go Vikings, get that 5-2 record, and take care, everybody.